The SAP Add On Tools, to unpack these specific functions, figure out what they do, and really show why they're so crucial for anyone dealing with, complex supply chains and managing inventory. This isn't just software talk. It's about making real operations smarter and, frankly, faster. And just for clarity, when we say MRP, we mean material requirements planning, kind of the engine behind a lot of this.
That's a great way to put it. And these tools, they're interesting because SAP actually calls them consulting solutions.
Yeah.
They're built to fill in what SAP calls white spots, basically, gaps in the standard software. And what's key is they're developed in an SAP namespace, fully integrated, so they feel native, not like some add-on bolted onto the side. You can get them as a whole package or pick and choose individual monitors or cockpits for specific needs.
And the impact of filling those white spots sounds pretty significant. You mentioned like a planner instantly seeing critical parts about to stock out. That's huge. That immediate insight, that's the kind of aha moment we're talking about. Moving from chaos to control, we'll be looking at the MRP monitor, the MRP exception monitor, replenishment lead time monitor, the safety stock and reorder point simulator, and the cross-plant planning cockpit. Real game changers. Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start right at the beginning, the MRP monitor. What's it bring to the table for managing parts?
Okay, the MRP monitor, it's fundamental. It really has two main jobs that work together for inventory control. First, it runs regular analyses, say, monthly or weekly. You configure it basically to classify your materials, segmenting your portfolio intelligently.
Classify them based on importance, usage.
Exactly. Based on rules you set up. Could be value, consumption frequency, things like that.
Right.
ABCXYZ classification is common. Second, and this is crucial, it calculates key inventory KPIs. Things like dead stock value, average inventory, range of coverage, really vital metrics. And it saves these results under a specific name. So you have a snapshot, a history.
Got it. So you run the analysis, get the classifications, calculate the KPIs. How does a planner actually use that information to make changes?
Right. That's the second part of its function. You can pull up those saved results anytime, view them in detail, and importantly, act on them. It allows for mass updates of master data directly from the results screen.
Mass updates. That sounds like a huge time saver.
Oh, absolutely. Instead of changing materials one by one, you can update groups based on the analysis.
I've heard the results display is quite detailed, broken into sections.
Yes, it's typically laid out in 4 parts. Upper left, you get the overview number of materials, total value, consumption value. You can even tweak the matrix view there. Then in the middle, you see the classification matrix itself. Visually shows how things are grouped. To the right, there's usually a graphical display. Bar charts, pie charts, for a quick visual take.
And the bottom part, I hear that's where the real detail is.
Yes, the ALV grid at the bottom, that's the workhorse.
ALV grid, that's the customizable table thing in SAP, right?
Precisely. Highly flexible. It shows individual materials with, well, a whole slew of information. Material master fields, the KPIs we calculated, the classification data, and you can sort it, filter it, sum things up, create custom layouts, tailor it exactly how you need it, focus on what matters.
So you can really drill down.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the real power comes with what's sometimes called the MRP Monitor Lite transaction. This lets you do those mass updates, either manually selecting materials from the grid or automatically using a rule table.
Automatically, based on the classification.
Exactly, based on the rules you define. That automation potential is huge for consistency and efficiency.
So what does this all mean for a planner day-to-day? What's the big benefit?
It means moving from being reactive to proactive. It gives them really total control over their material portfolio. It's a central cockpit to understand their inventory, identify issues, and apply consistent rule-based replenishment strategies to optimize inventory levels. Less guesswork, more precision.
You mentioned a rule table there. That sounds like the policy table add-on, is that right? Behind the automation?
That's it, exactly. The policy table, or rule table, yeah. It's where you define all those inventory policies.
Yeah.
The overview screen shows your policies, their name, the sequence they're evaluated in, which is important.
Sequence matters, okay.
Definitely. And a policy key. Then you select one, and it shows you the details, the conditions for the rule to apply, and the specific master data values it will update if the conditions are met.
And your source had that dynamic buffer example where if a material gets classified a certain way.
Right. If the classification matches the conditions tab, it sets the MRP type to VV, that's reorder point planning, and assigns a specific range of coverage profile, like B02.
So it's very precise control based on how the material behaves.
Exactly. It lets planners strategically decide how different groups of materials, based on their classification, should be managed for replenishment, It encodes your strategy.
Okay, so we've got the foundation with the monitor and the strategy with the policy table. Let's talk about catching problems before they happen. The MRP exception monitor sounds critical for that.
Oh, it's incredibly valuable for tactical planners. Its main job is to give you a really clear, immediate view of potential issues. The oval view screen is your starting point. A planner selects their portfolios, by MRP controller, maybe across different plants,
Right.
and boom, it shows you the exceptions needing attention. Like it might say 15 materials with undercoverage.
Meaning they're going to run short?
Exactly. Inventory issues are looming. You click on that number 15 and it pulls up an ALV grid again, but this time just with those problem materials and their relevant data. And from there are buttons, usually 3, to jump to more detailed screens.
And one of those is the materials view for digging deeper into a specific problem part.
Yes, the materials view gives you more context on that material. Master data, planning details, past usage, future demand, projected stock levels. Plus, like the monitor, you can configure layouts, set custom alerts, tailor your warning system.
Makes sense. But you mentioned another view was maybe even more useful.
For the tactical planner, yeah, arguably the missing parts view is the most powerful screen. What it does is provide a timeline view, specifically looking forward for potential stockout situations.
A forward look. Oh.
Yeah. So for each potential future stockout, it tells you the date the requirement is due, the quantity needed then, what the stock level is projected to be at that date, the size of the shortage, and critically, it shows the next expected receipt date and quantity after that stockout date.
Wow. Okay, that is powerful. So you don't just see the problem, you see when the solution is currently scheduled to arrive, which might be too late.
Precisely. That's the key insight. It highlights situations where the next delivery won't cover the gap in time.
Can you walk through an example? Like, how would that prevent a line down situation?
Sure. Imagine a critical part needed in 2 weeks. Standard MRP might just show a projected negative balance then. The missing parts view flags it early, shows the stockout date, the quantity short, and shows the next PO delivery isn't scheduled until week 3.
Ah, so the planner sees immediately, uh-oh, this delivery isn't soon enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now they have time to act before the line stops, expedite the PO, maybe find stock at another plant, adjust the production schedule.
It turns that firefighting into proactive problem solving.
Totally. It provides an excellent early warning system, gives planners real control over their portfolios.
Okay, sticking with enhanced visibility, let's talk about the advanced MDO4. Standard MDO4 is the stock requirements list, right? How does this make it advanced?
Right. MDO4 is a staple SAP transaction. It integrates nicely with the exception monitor we just discussed. You can often jump between them. But it's also great standalone. It's basically MDO4 on steroids.
Huh. Okay, what are the key enhancements? What makes it better?
The biggest advantage, I'd say, is viewing multiple materials potentially across multiple plants and even MRP areas all on one screen, with all their supply and demand elements listed.
Whoa, okay. Standard MDO4 is strictly one material at a time, right?
Exactly. That multi-material view is a massive change. Plus, you can change dates and quantities on fixed supply elements like POs or confirmed production orders directly in the list.
Without opening the actual PO document.
Correct. You don't have to jump into the document itself. Saves a lot of clicks and navigation.
That sounds incredibly useful.
And typically, it just shows you much more information up front. Again, with personalized layouts so you see what you need to see.
Which makes monitoring and expediting real easy, I imagine. Less screen hopping, faster decisions.
Definitely. Streamlines the whole process.
Now, let's shift gears a bit. A huge issue in planning is lead times. Standard systems often use fixed, static lead times, but reality is messy. How does the replenishment lead time monitor, the RLT, tackle this?
The RLT monitor hits that problem head on. Its whole purpose is to update lead times in SAP, in the Material Master, purchasing info records, contracts, scheduling agreements based on reality.
Based on reality, how does it measure that?
It measures the actual procurement lead times. It looks at historical purchase orders comparing the PO creation date to the actual goods receipt date, the delivery date.
Okay. Actual performance data.
Exactly. It calculates an average from these completed POs over a certain period, and then it automatically updates that calculated average lead time back into those relevant SAP records. You can also set it up to run periodically as a batch job, so your lead times stay fresh and reflect current supplier performance.
So it closes that loop. Instead of planning based on a guess or an old number, you're using recent actual lead times. That feels like a fundamental fix for a common MRP weakness.
It really is. It ensures parts are planned with proper, realistic lead times, which directly impacts inventory levels and service, avoids issues caused by incorrect assumptions.
Okay, related to managing inventory levels, let's talk buffers. Safety stock, reorder points, getting those right is crucial but tricky. What does the safety stock and reorder point simulator, the SSS, do?
The SSS tool is all about optimizing those buffer levels, your safety stock, your reorder points. It calculates and updates these levels using various formulas and strategies. You can configure different methods. The key thing is its ability to determine and update these buffers for potentially thousands of materials all at once and periodically push those updates right into the material master records.
All at once. Okay. What's the strategic importance of getting those buffers just right? It seems like a constant balancing act.
It's absolutely critical. Too little buffer, you risk stockouts and poor service. Too much, and you tie up huge amounts of capital in inventory holding costs. The SSS is really indispensable for maintaining proper buffer levels consistently, and the simulation part is key.
Simulation, how does that work?
It lets you simulate the impact of different buffer levels, often using various target service levels. So you can model, say, a 95% service level versus a 98% service level. You can see the projected inventory investment and the expected availability for each scenario before you commit. It helps find that sweet spot, the most effective balance between cost and availability for different groups of materials.
So you're making informed trade-offs, not just picking a number.
Exactly. It's about data-driven optimization of your inventory investment.
Yeah, I can see how that would be a massive time and cost saver. Something you wouldn't want to live without once you have it.
People often say exactly that. The precision it brings is invaluable.
Okay, last tool on our list, the Cross-Plant Planning Cockpit, CPP. This sounds geared towards companies with multiple sites, hitting another one of those white spots in standard SAP.
Yes, absolutely. Especially relevant for multi-plant networks. The standard SAP logic can be a bit rigid here. Typically, a part needed in Plant A can either be sourced from Plant B using a specific setup, a special procuring key, or bought from an outside vendor. But what often happens is Plant B might have a huge excess of the exact part, maybe even slow-moving or dead stock, while Plant A is desperate for it and about to place an expensive, long lead time external order.
Yeah, you hear about that disconnect all the time. Silos.
Exactly. Standard SAP doesn't automatically look across the network and say, hey, let's just move that excess stock from B to A. It's often way more cost-effective and faster, but requires manual effort or doesn't happen at all.
So the CPP fixes that. How does it work? Is it automated?
This is where it really shines. It uses algorithms to actively scan the entire plant network. It's searching for these imbalances, excess inventory of a part in one plant, and a need for that same part in another plant.
Okay, so it finds the opportunities.
It finds them, and then it can automatically generate the necessary stock transport orders to move that inventory from the plant with excess to the plant with the need, balancing the network.
Wow, automated network balancing. So what's the bottom line impact for a business with multiple warehouses or factories?
The benefits are pretty huge. First, obviously, it saves on inventory holding costs. You reduce excess in one place by using it to fill a real need elsewhere, less dead stock overall. Second, it's an immense time saver. Internal stock transfers are often much faster than buying externally, so it cuts lead times.
And improves availability, I assume.
Definitely. Increases part availability across the whole network because you're using the inventory you already own much more efficiently. It's a win on cost, a win on speed, and a win on service.
That's quite a suite of tools we've covered. From the MRP monitor giving that total overview, the policy table for strategy, exception monitor for early warnings, advanced MDO4, then the RLT keeping lead times real, SSS optimizing buffers, and CPP balancing the whole network. It really feels like they shift supply chain management from, constant firefighting to something much more proactive, intelligent, and optimized. The potential for cost savings, time savings, and just better control seems enormous.
It really underscores that idea that having the data isn't enough. You need the tools to understand it and, crucially, act on it effectively. These add-ons are perfect examples of finding those white spots in a complex system and creating targeted, integrated solutions that unlock real, measurable value by filling those gaps.